Selamat pagi, good morning, and welcome to Mama Bali for this Guardians of Gaia call on this super new moon solar eclipse, the eve of our last eclipse for this calendar year. I'm just checking if that's all calendars, and it is before the next one comes around. And it has been an extremely powerful transformational passage for myself personally and everyone that I've been meeting along the way. We're going through the birth canal where there's no going back now. And that's exciting. It's challenging many, and it's demanding change, alignment, coherence, and connection. So we're really looking forward to sharing really the last month of updates with you and everything else that wants to come through the field today on our journey together. So, and it's also a pleasure to have Raylene join us today. Just briefly, Raylene and I first met at the arse end of the Sphinx when I was coming out of Yemen after work in Socotra in the Sea of Aden, and Raylene had been coming through I think it was the Americas and Europe down. We met at the arse end of the Sphinx. Horace flew in. Lots of codes came through and information came through, and then a desert storm came through. So we retreated off-site and into the nearest tea house for chai and falafel. And that was our journey beginning. So it's a real gift to have Raylene Weave with us also today. So let us begin by aligning the body. If you feel inspired to stand up, sound, breathe, and move, please do so. Aligning physical, mental, and emotional body with all-pervading soul or higher self, and monadic galactic self, whichever you refer. Activating the Earth Star, 1 foot beneath the feet, connecting through the divergent meridians of the planetary body. And those primordial elemental energies of creation, the elements, in their infinite potential and purity, inviting them up through our pillars independently first of all. May they cleanse, clear, and purify, recalibrate, regenerate, rejuvenate. All the way up to the soul star, 1 foot or half a meter above the head, activating the soul star and inviting down our celestial nature to meet with our terrestrial nature. To mix, mingle, and merge our celestial selves with our terrestrial, earthly human bodies. Surrendering through the core of Source in the heart of Gaia, and allowing us to surrender into and unto that spaciousness, that support, and that unconditional love of our planetary body. Surrendering through the core of Source in our own heart spaces. Surrendering through the core of Source in the heart of the Sun. And in the heart of the great central sun. As we activate our solar discs within and without, harmonizing and syncing them with the solar discs that are already active on the planetary body. Surrendering to the core of Source in the heart of the moon and in the heart of Gaia, and activating our lunar disc. And surrendering through the core of Source, through the galactic center, into Homo Universalis, our ancient future selves. Whatever point in your system that point resides, be that through your pineal gland, your gateway to God, or through your navel, once it's anchored through the body, the physical body. Inhaling, exhaling with sound and strengthening and fortifying our independent pillars while honoring the place on the planet where we stand today. Inhaling, exhaling with sound as we harmonize our golden toroidal fields with the golden toroid of the planetary body from that point in the planet. Inhaling, exhaling with sound as we unify through and around the planetary body today. Remembering time is not linear as we make space for those that will join this circle at a later date or listen to the recording in the days to come. Welcoming each and every one into this sacred space of love, into the unified field, into our becoming. And from this point, may I hand you over to Casey to continue our connection and harmonic.
Staying in this juicy field of connection, which we've created together, anchoring our pillars of light. One by one, we step into the field of unity together, amplifying the field and connecting further out. We wish to recognize those beings of the seen and the unseen realms that wish to have participation in our circle with us today, giving us further connection to the furthest outreaches of the solar bodies, of the cosmic field. Coming into connection at this time, we wish to recognize the plasma field itself, both in our bodies and in the cosmic spaces. Opening up the stargates in our individual systems. You may find this in the stargate of your heart or the solar plexus. Seeking out your individual gateway will help you to connect more fully to the gateways that are open and ready and responsive at this time. And it is through our energetic bodies opening up our plasmic fields that we can unify with these stargates, allowing us to travel to the furthest places of reconnection to our soul lineage, our soul journeys, and connecting out to our star families that wish to step forward at this time. In those spaces and places, we recognize the white lions that wish to come forward as part of the circle today. Holding in their heart fields that deep, loyal, powerful embodiment, which we are all being encouraged to step into at this time. Understanding as we go through this eclipse portal that we are asked to shed the deepest, darkest layers that are hanging on in our soul embodiment that are not for our next step of evolution, that we must let go, that we must empty in order to fill up with something new, to expand out even further. Recognizing our star families that are stepping into circle to support us on our journeys today. Recognizing our Cetacean Nation, swimming those beautiful song lines in our memory banks, connecting us out to the furthest star systems, and anchoring in the vibration of Gaia. We welcome in galactic Gaia into the field, recognizing her ascension path as she travels even further, that we match her vibration and we travel with her, that we are part of the same journey as her. And recognizing into the field the elements of the water, the wind, the air, the fire, all of the guardian keepers of all the realms that wish to come forward. As Gaia moves and shakes and shifts at this time, all of the information that is needed for protection for the human races are found in our guardians and in our elemental forces. That connecting to nature and to Gaia, we are safe always. And connecting in through our source fields, we are always connected. Recognizing the source field at this time, that galactic web that holds each one of us, the universal field, and the universal field of love itself. That it is through love that we are all connected. It is through love that we step back into our divinity. And it is through love that we return to source, completing the path in our journey today. We wish to keep this field of connection, although staying in our individual pillars and coming back to our individual bodies. This expansion field wishes to come forward with us, sharing information telepathically through our earth bodies, receiving the codes that we cannot see, but we can feel, that light up our systems at this time. We will step back into our individual pillars, yet holding that unified field, ready to receive the codes that wish to come forward and be shared through the heart spaces at this time. Bringing some gentle movement back into your systems, feeling your feet on the floor, the chair beneath you, and choosing to open your eyes at this time and come fully into your spaces and places.
Writing, Raylene, if there's anything you would like to share before we give everyone an update on what's been moving through the planetary body and all of our physical body in this last month.
Yes, well, I woke up yesterday morning, I think it was. I really don't know about time anymore or dates. It's just all a big jumble for me. But I woke up and the message was very loud as I was stirring, and that was the Great Cosmic Motherboard is now back online. So there's a lot of rejoicing. In particular, our mineral kingdom is holding the codex for the galactic Gaian living libraries, and there has been a clearing in our cellular memories and in our light bodies that has allowed us to gain access in a way that we have not experienced for a long time in our consciousness of linearity. That is, we could refer to it as Golden Atlantis is the frequency band that we are now resting in. We are alchemizing and anchoring within that field, and our fields and forms are, in simple terms, able to hold that frequency band, which is love in motion. So our emotional bodies have undergone a massive cleanse, and also our inner child, and through Aries in Chiron, a big healing with all our come unto me as little children, our heartfelt joy and innocence is returning to us, into our hearts, into our minds, into our bodies. And there's been a lot of clearing with things that have held us, for want of a better word, held us in programs and holograms that were not necessary of our choices, but something at a soul level that we have also signed up to experience. So there's been a huge balancing of the scales, but also a water memory code that is being accessed through our golden blood plasma, which connects not only to our sun, but also to our stellar gateways. So our blood plasma is golden, and this blood plasma allows us to interface. It is as if our GPSs have switched on, and we are able to recognize not only places on the planet that call to us, but we are learning, or we are able to have access now to our entry and exit gates. These are the gates that we enter and exit through as we choose to traverse our dimensionality, but also these are birthing gates that when we know our birthing gates, and it's simply by going on an inner journey and sourcing those entry and exit gates where they are for you on this planet, where you are able to acupuncture with the Great Mother through those birthing canals that you first traversed through on your first ever earth walk. These are set up as star maps within our body, and so our blood plasma is, in a sense, our blood song that sings to us from the stars, and it is us singing to ourselves. And so this connection is enhanced now, and for those who wish to explore this, you're invited to find your exit and entry gates on the planet through guided visual, through your own inner journeying, simply by asking, and work with these gates for better stability. And also this bypasses a lot of lower astral activity where people get caught up in reincarnational cycles as well. So we are able to fully and freely work with our encodements and our gifts that we are bringing here from the stars. In a sense, many are here, but not fully arrived. And so this is a way for us to fully arrive now. Beings are fully arriving in their consciousness, in their remembering. And as we walk the land, we remember, we put back the dismembered parts of self. And in this way, we're able to receive more from our spherical consciousness and the facets of self that support us, not only in this realm, but through many realms simultaneously. And we get to understand our innate gifts and our propensities, because there's no use learning somebody else's gifts perfectly and neglecting our own. Better we stumble all the way with our own as we get to reacquaint ourselves with them and who we are and what we're holding in other realms of dimensionality. So this motherboard coming online is really fast-tracking everything now.
Yeah, thank you, Raylene. So true, and it feels like this next wave of incoming souls that we've been talking about recently has enabled that, because they've also landed in. We've been working specifically with the first monads of 12, of which the first one of 5 arrived in 2022, and the second of the next 7 arrived last month in mid-September. And because they're coming in fully connected and aligned, they're restoring also the connection and alignment between the planetary body and our star systems. And that's a lot of what we've been working with this month on the planetary level, with the planetary pyramid system, through the earthly pyramids, the wide etheric connection pyramids onto the off-planetary pyramid systems. We've been working a lot with the inner earth crystalline systems that are connected to the stone circles on the planet. And also more recently, I've been working with the canyons on the earth, such as Grand Canyon, etc. And last night, even with different mountains on different continents, as there are mountains and volcanoes on different continents. So it's as the planetary switchboard comes back online, everything is being restored into its originator gates in the process. And it's having to happen in stages, because us older models also have to keep recalibrating and rebooting and reconnecting. Even though the new ones are arriving in their full avatar bodies, we still need to, do the housework so that we can realign and recalibrate to the more of us that is here to join. And the other thing it felt like mentioning is one thing that we discovered in our recent Mastery and Multidimensionality journey was when the macabre was introduced and why it was introduced, and that it's no longer required, which is really interesting. The macabre was created like as a stepping stone after the fall for us to be able to connect in some formal way. But now, because everything is coming back online, it's no longer required, and we can correct directly through our Earth star and Soul star into the greater body.
Mm.
So it's really important, because we had to actually do a big clearing for those of us that have been on the planet since that time, which had the macabre system set up through our systems, to actually remove it. We don't need it now. We can operate fully between the Earth star and the Soul star, which operates at a higher frequency than the more mechanical macabre system.
Yeah, I resonate with that. I myself have not utilized the macabre system, and I would like to add about the monad. Yes, they are coming in wide up, ready to go. However, it only takes one of what we would call the first wavers, because they're holding something that is bridging. So it's not only what's coming from our universal time matrix, for want of a better word, but also what we're bringing to the field, what we're meeting with to create something else. So this is a very, like, it's a meeting of the monads in and sharing all their gifts and what their experiences. And so there's an interfacing occurring with that, and even as far as to say, in my own experience with the monadic awakening, when people are activating this within themselves, the 3 times 4 or the 12 of each group, it just takes that one to activate the whole group that are here on the earth. So it's not dependent on beings birthing through to the earth now with fully wired up, ready to go monadic consciousness. There is also something that's coming from our inner earth that is bringing to the mix. It's like it's meeting it from the opposite end, and they're creating an alchemical, it's like almost like an upgrade to the monadic consciousness and body. So
yeah, it is. It's brilliant. And I've experienced this with a sister who's of the same monad. It's like she automatically could rewrite through my system, and literally I was like a scaffolding for her to reconnect to herself, And then as she did, it's almost like then I could also interface with hers and reconnect to parts of myself again. It's
Yes.
absolutely extraordinary how the monadic system functions,
And
that
this is
we grow
happening.
together in the
Yes.
unified field.
This is happening en masse now. It really is. And it's not even that you have to consciously know who each other are or where you're, residing on the earth plane, on the surface earth, because we are always working together, no matter what. So that's the beauty of what's occurring now, and this is happening for several reasons, but a lot of the reasons is that we put the call out to our sun, and the sun is responding to us. And so, if anybody's ever flown an aeroplane or knows about flying, particularly in smaller planes, you switch on your transponder, which means that's the connection not only to receive, but you're also you're sending out your own signal, and it's a link, it's a communication link. So we haven't just only switched on our cosmic GPSs, we've actually switched on our transponders, and this is why what I call going live at the Crystal Palace, our higher brain centers and our gland centers are responding to the solar and stellar codes in a most magnificent way now, and we're actually delivering codes and communications to the sun and to galaxies about what we are doing here. So the experiences that we're having with our physical is actually us learning to decipher the language of light, and if we can understand that our nervous system is consciousness, and this is why our nervous systems are being so bombarded right now in terms of our physicality trying to catch up. We only get what we're ready for, no more, no less. So that is one thing that we can be rest assured with the intensity. And just before we come on, we had an X flare that was 7 point something just happened now, which, if anybody knows, 9 is considered the highest. There have been higher spiking, or what I call now, we're not spiking anymore, we're actually live streaming. So we're live streaming, and this is part of us live streaming now. So it's not just what we're receiving, it's what we're also gifting the sun from ourselves. The other interesting point that we, our fluidity, our liquid light plasma, the waters in our body, we are the way of water, and the waters in our body are condensed light. So if we can acknowledge what we're bringing to the mix, it really ups the ante.
Completely. And it's probably also a good time to remind people that, we can't just connect to ourselves without going in and down and integrating it through the physical body. These bodies, if we really want them to be able to function at their highest optimal potential, we need to take care of them. And that requires, diet, exercise, nutrition, look at our electromagnetic intake, our light, our dark. And that exercise, we really want a bamboo body. It needs to be strong and soft. It needs to be flexible and pliable and spacious, so that we can become the way of the water. And one of the greatest supports I'm finding during this intense period is the ocean, even beyond my plasma pool that's chlorinated with blessings, the holy waters, but just spending a few days completely submerging myself and wallowing like a whale in the Bali Sea, with my next date in the Indian Ocean and my next day in the Pacific, to actually keep my body in such a space that she's fully integrated into the natural systems and therefore can organically receive an upgrade as required. And how is that flowing for you, Casey? Because you too have been busy with a lot of planetary work lately, all the way out to Rapa Nui and Belong.
Yeah, we were connecting with Easter Island in our group this last week, and the MOA, which had a lot of information to bring forward as guardians. Curiously though, we felt like there might be a solar disk on Easter Island that's not fully activated yet, but in our connection, it felt like it was a timing thing, that it wasn't quite ready to bring into its fullness. Either that or the people in the group didn't have the proper coding to bring it out forward for activation amongst the group. What does that feel like, Leanne?
It feels very resonant, particularly the later part, and really interesting too, because I was one day when I was up north in Singaraja or Tujakula was with Les and the disc at Les. And it was extraordinary being under the waterfall with the disc at Les. Like no other time I'd been there in the many years I've been visiting this site. And I came out, I could feel my auric field literally glowing in liquid light from it. And instead of just being in there with a rainbow, it was like being in there with a double rainbow system. So the solar discs, and my time in there was also connecting with the solar disc in Kailash. And I'm getting a yes for the solar disc here in Rapa Nui. Is it ready to come on? It's ready to come on today. Now. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of the, thank you for sharing that, and I'm so grateful for the service in relation to the discs that you were both, or that you were all a part of. I will say that the discs are sequential, okay, and they are normally accessed peripherally rather than direct connecting. So once you hold a certain coding with a few discs, and I might just backtrack a little bit, a few steps back. When you go to these places, or when you connect with bi and trilocation to these places, you're scanned, and you only get what you're ready for. So according, not just because coding isn't fixed, according to consciousness, your coding shifts and changes all the time, back and forth. And when working particularly with things like the discs and the golden eggs as well, you are scanned to see what you're holding, from the DNA, from the RNA, which is your inner song lines. The RNA is our inner song lines. And so we are looking at our frequency that we're holding. Again, this is part of the blood song. And it's not just what we have from our mitochondrial DNA and from our matrial and patrial lineages of our DNA. When we come in through the 8 original seed cells or soul cells, we bring a DNA weave of our own into the mix. So we never really have a 2-strand DNA. We always have minimum 3 because we're on a 3D, planet is what we've chosen to embody. And so all these come into the mix. And with Rapa Nui, yes, I feel that it's online and has been for a while, but it's ready to exchange the weave, the DNA, RNA weave with humanity again.
Yeah. I was just feeling for those that haven't listened to the other recordings yet, the first ones that came online through the Guardian Circle was Lago Attilan, followed closely behind by Lago Titicaca's discs. And then the third one, was it Les, the third one that came online?
I think so.
Yeah. Which triangulated all of those across the Pacific. And then after that, those working with those three, there, it was almost like there was a person location specific for them. But since that, yes, once those three were activated, then it was, we're able to engage with the others from wherever we were on the planet or are on the planet. And do you remember, Casey, the ones that have been dialed in since then, in what order they came online? I know
Well, the one I'm connected to on Big Island, we activated that one.
that one.
Sorry, where was that?
From Big Island.
Oh, Big Island. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the
Good.
one in Sicily, there was one in
Yes.
Sicily came online as well. And then was Kailash the next one?
Yes.
That's it. So that's 6. And is that make Rapa Nui then number 7 if Rapa Nui is ready to come online? Yeah.
Well, I would like to say it's a little misnomer that they're coming online. We're coming online to
Yeah.
them.
We're coming online to them.
I can add a few more into the mix as well that I've been assigned to for over 20 years of being online. And I would say the Wicklow Mountains. Okay. Also, and that is interesting because I feel, as soon as you said that, I feel that there's an exchange of coding with Casey and myself regarding Big Island with that, which also holds a really important anchor point for all of them as a triple stargate that came online in 2006. There's also, of course, one that it's a massive one you can stand on, and it rotates and it all lights up with different like hieroglyphic language that's star language, and that's in Under the Sphinx. Bimini has one in the Bahamas, but it's not Bimini that holds the access point, because some of them have entry and exit gates, and this is why I'm talking about the peripheral. So this is a little bit just technical stuff, but worth mentioning that it's Andros, the tongue of the ocean, which is an abyss. So a lot of them are on the land and also in the ocean, and it was set up that way for safekeeping, and also because of the lands rising and falling in different epochs, and yeah, as a protective mechanism. The whales are really important with this as well, because they feed the codes, and they have certain points along coastlines that they actually transmit from the discs to key locations, and this involves mountains, which are like the antennas, okay, cosmic antennas, and then the whales feed in, but it also connects the energy of our inner sun to our cosmic sun, and we can consider that the whales, or the cetaceans, the whales and dolphins, are the transducers for us not to fry out our wiring, and so they're through the hydroplasma that's coming from the solar plasma and interacting or alchemizing with our ocean as hydroplasma, that is what the whales and dolphins are disseminating through their song around the planet. So it's a transduction of solar plasma, and there are other levels and there are other elementals involved in this, but the whales and dolphins specifically are working with the hydroplasma in our oceans. And this connects in with a mother ocean, which I got pulled into at Tani Mahuta.
For those that aren't familiar with Tani Mahuta, Tani Mahuta is one of the oldest kauri in New Zealand, up in Titai Tokerau, the tail of the whale up in the North Island. And there's beautiful mythology between Tani Mahuta and the whales. And the skin of Tani Mahuta is the same as the skin of the whale.
They share the same skin law.
Yeah.
They exchange codes. They share the same skin law, the same DNA coding that we're referring to now.
And as you were sharing that around Raylene, it also came through Australia and Uluru.
Absolutely.
Came into the field as you were weaving that story around.
Well, I've had to go there twice this month to work with that. It's a little bit more involved with that one because it's the solar plexus on one level, but it holds a bit more than just what the solar discs are offering. But yes, absolutely, and involves something that will come to light soon, also about the golden eggs and what's in their prophecies. Like Hopis, they have prophecies around the golden boomerang, which also has galactic hieroglyphs that light up. And that boomerang was embedded in Uluru a long time ago. And so all this is coming back online. I'll return again to Uluru for the third time in 3 months on solstice for that specific, galactivation, for want of a better word.
Yeah, it's my system lights up with the golden boomerangs, and they feel older. Obviously, time's not linear, but older, more ancient than the actual sun disks on the planetary system.
Yeah,
with complete originator codes.
Yeah, they're part of the eggs. They're part of the egg system, and it's just phenomenal what's happening. You know, we're just fully lit now, and you know, and our planetary fields and forms are just, you know, they're just pulsating with the most incredible golden. They're even beyond light codes as we can fathom that concept of them. Really, it's extraordinary.
There is a lot to digest for everyone today. John, you had a question, or anyone else have questions or contribution?
Yeah, hi everyone. I just want to go back to your comment about the Merkaba. It's sort of been something close to our heart, of course, because part of what we do in Drombolo's School of Remembering is we activate the Merkaba, and it has particular relevance. You know, there's a technique that Drombolo received from the Ascended Masters that comes from the Kriya and Kundalini yoga systems as well too, and it's about connecting the heart with the brain as well too, and that's the activation process. Now, can I just ask firstly, are you suggesting that we deactivate Merkaba? And I guess the other thing is that it is something that I'll probably have to, if that's what you're saying, is that I would have to feel into to see how I feel about this too. I get that as we move along in these current timelines, things are moving so fast that circumstances change. And I'm not really up with that right now or familiar with that right now, but I'll look into it anyway too, because we also work with external or surrogate Merkaba as well too, and we place them over, apart from our own ones that exist, but also bodies of land, and they're quite programmable as well too. So we can program them as well too. So I guess my question was, are you suggesting that that time has passed and that we need to deactivate Merkaba? Yeah.
Perhaps to consider it is it has worked well, it has served its purpose, and it's no longer required in the evolutionary trajectory that we're on. Would probably be my shortest answer. Maybe anyone else have any expansion on that? I think Raylene might.
Would it just be superseded by that we don't have to deactivate it? It is just superseded by what's come online now.
Yeah, we're simply adding more to the mix. We don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, would be my personal feeling on that. As I said earlier, I've never had to utilize that system to connect, but I can really appreciate the value of it. And for me, it's all about integration. It's all about integration. So we're not superseding any particular thing. We are integrating our consciousness and our relationship with that system. And integration is key in all things in regards to this point, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
In other words, make way, make way, make room, make room.
Make room and make space. And what I'm finding, which is a beautiful to be able to journey in our Mastery and Multidimensionality group, is it's almost like it's been a useful stepping stone for some people and others haven't needed it in their way to restore their coherence and connection and integration of consciousness. So for some, yes, but it's more don't be attached to it as it's the be all and end all, because we're on an evolutionary journey beyond what's been here before.
Yeah, thanks, Leanne. Yep, that resonates. It's good.
Yeah, I had a feeling you'd like this one, John, and also it'll be a wonderful one to take back to Drumvalo and the group that you're a part of, to help to support that onward evolutionary process rather than be getting stuck into a closed system is opening to the infinite.
I will bring that to the school. It's interesting you say that, because the school, which has been fragmented, is coming together again, and there's a lovely new energy. And there's a man I think you might know called Ron Laplace. He's someone I describe as a master who lives in Canada, and we have I haven't spoken to him for nearly a couple of years, but we had a Zoom about a week or so ago, and it's quite mind-boggling, all the new things that he's coming up as well too, which is pretty amazing. But I will, engage with him and have a talk and see how he feels about that aspect of it as well too, because I know he's constantly updating and changing a lot of the information within the workshop, and I've certainly felt that this was something that was designed back in the 90s, and the early 2000s. And, things are moving real quick. So, I'm certainly open to that as well, too. But I'm interested in how other people feel about it as well.
Can I add that there are a lot of systems that are being upgraded? For example, astrology really needs to be upgraded right now. I'm working with a master kinesiologist. That whole system is being upgraded as we speak, because of the brain centers and the circuits of our body, and the meridian systems are all changing. We are no longer in 3D. We are no longer operating on a system that involves 3D elements. So therefore, we are metamorphosizing with our planet. We are made up of the same elements as her. So it's only natural that as she is going through these returning, when I say returning, to her starry brethren as the bell of the ball, the starry ball, we are going along for the ride with her. And so there are so many systems and so many wonderful, wonderful, foundational systems for awakening that came out of, the 70s, 80s, and 90s in particular, that were invaluable. However, we're not living in that that holographic body anymore. We're not living on that holographic body, and we're not living within it. Yes, those tools are still, they haven't been totally written off as yet. It's like certain phones don't work anymore. We can talk it like our broadcasting. So we can see it that way as a broadcasting system. It's still, but there are other technologies within our own innate divine architecture that are coming online now that serve for this juncture.
Thank you. Can I just finish off, Leanne? Regarding what you'd suggested to me a little while back after I'd had that a huge download here, and you had mentioned about updating all the team that assists with this as too, which was not something that I'd thought of, but when I did do that, it was like you just turbocharged again, and who are these guys, and you just take it to another level, and then there's a whole bunch of other stuff that comes up as well too, so that's really helpful and interesting.
If anybody wants more information on that, go back and find the recording where we went through changing the guardians of the body consciousness, because our body has guardians, as does sacred sites on the planet. And even the sacred sites on the planet are having changes of the guardians as they are upgrading. Our inner systems need it. The external systems are requiring also upgrading. And be aware, after the ecstasy, the laundry, every time we go for an upgrade, it'll often bring up another wave of our unconscious that requires excavation and cleaning and emptying and making more spaciousness so that our own earth stars can come online. And it's such an exciting time to be here, moving from, Homo sapien into Homo luminous, our soul embodiment, into Homo galacticus, our galactic embodiment, and into Homo universalis, which the honeybee holds the template for.
It
is there awaiting us at the rate of which we can integrate, and at the rate we're willing to let go and surrender.
You're right about that too, because after I had that download experience, I went into a space that was quite new for me of total cognizance, and I was looking at things and reading them in a way that I'd never done before. And I thought, wow, is this what enlightenment feels like, And I say, I'm enlightened like that. And then 2 days later, I got triggered by someone and I exploded into this great big, explosion of anger and stuff like that. And I thought, oh my God, it's not happening yet, too. But what it taught me was a new level of what the triggers are, and it was a great learning as well too. And I've come on a great journey in the days since of just being the observer and watching all the things that have triggered me in the past and being mostly less affected by them too. So that's been very helpful.
Thank you. And yeah.
It's what I call reading between the lines.
Yeah, and you know how supportive it is to change our perceptual state of awareness when we go from this is not happening to me, it's happening for me. So how may I respond in a different way to support the next stage of my own embodiment and evolution?
And sometimes when we're blissing out in our own, you know, sometimes we need something like that righteous rage. You know, rage is very powerful to help to anchor us in rather than just floating around in it. You know, it brings it to the ground. So there's whole purposes in what you're explaining, how it serves, as Leanne says, for the greatest opportunities for us.
Thank you. Any other contributions or questions?
I have a question, Raylin. When I was in Bali and Uluru, you had messaged that you activated a stargate there at the southern tip of Uluru, connecting back to Andromeda. And so when I was there, I connected to that stargate. And I just want your words to speak on that stargate versus the new universal stargates that are starting to open up. It felt to me that was still one of the old system, like you needed, like you were talking about, even with the sun disk that scans your system, you need to have clearance or you need to have the codes or the keys to activate. With the universal systems, the new ones that are starting to open up, it feels like more of a vibrational match that you gain access when you're merged with the field of that stargate. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Let's put it this way, that Andromeda Galaxy is a bridger. There's been a lot that has been shut down within our Milky Way galaxy, and by having the Andromeda Galaxy as a bridger, the Andromeda Galaxy was our original galaxy. So we have to remember that part first. So it's key in opening up to these other universal stargates that you're referring to, if that makes sense. The stargate, the main gateway for that is actually in Mount Parnassus, and the mythical realms of the upper 4D, because it had been hijacked. Our Milky Way galaxy was hijacked some time ago, and a lot of the black hole systems were running false wormholes from that. That's a whole nother story. However, we are moving out of those locks that were placed over the Mind Gate and our originator gateways, and moving back into the originator gateway of Andromeda, in order to access omni-gateway access, if that makes sense. So Mount Parnassus is above Delphi. So I'll be there in a few days and see what's going on there this year in relation to that component. But yeah, and Andromeda is very interesting, and the upper mythical realms that are helping us to hold space. It's actually Pegasus that holds that gateway, and allows us to not be pulled down into the lower astral and the frequency bands of 4D, in a sense that has us in a holding pattern in our consciousness. And so these are valuable stepping stones for people, because we, as we say, we're scanned, so we can't go, you can't trick, you know, the gatekeepers. They know well before we do what our intent is and why we're coming to these places. And when we show up, you know, we're given the frequency match that that we are ready for, no more, no less. And so that's why, you know, people can go to these places and will receive different information because it's a frequency match. And it's also, as I said, tied into the genetic codes and the DNA RNA sequencing within the braid. And, you know, I will just add that it's the bees that are part of the weave of that braid, that DNA coding braid of matriarchal, mitochondria for us, if that makes sense. Does that feel like that's answered? Give you a bit more to chew on?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Aileen. And just while I think about it, you're off to Delphi and Egypt.
Yes.
So maybe if you just want to give us the dates of your journeys and if there's still space, if anybody wants to join you.
Yeah. I'm in Delphi for 4 days from the 8th to the 11th, inclusive. And then there's 2 parts to Egypt. There's working with the whales in Wadi al-Hitan, the Valley of the Whales, ancient prehistoric whales, and our primordial ocean connector point in the desert. So that's the 20th, and also some pyramids that are a little off the beaten track pyramids, then other than the Giza Plateau. And so 20th to 26th, and then 26th till the 30th. So they're 2 short trips, and the second one can be an extension, or you can just do the first one. I've tried to make it, you know, so that people can join, because a lot of the tours, I've customized this specifically. It's called Asgard Nefa, which is it's all about the harmony of water. So it's very much about the water codes that I'm referring to, and it's designed to access water, but also to activate our own waters, our own innate waters. So that's the gist of that.
Beautiful. Thank you, Raylene. And we'll put your info as a host in the bio beneath this recording for anybody who wants to get in touch with Raylene. And it's really interesting because you're going to be journeying there on Giza and Wadi al-Hitan when we're going to Gunung Padang. Yeah, at the same, in the same window.
Wow.
And it's interconnected with.
It is. And you were talking about the water and the lighting up of the water. And I had an experience with the manta rays on Nusa Penida. Yeah, if people aren't familiar, just off Bali, the island. And they gave some really amazing downloads for this new kinesiology system for the planet, for the meridians and the circuits and the brain repatterning. But afterwards, myself and the other girl I was working with, all around our auras in the water was electric blue, like physically electric blue visible. All of our bodies had this very, very small but very fine electric blue fluorescent color around just on the top of our skin.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And just maybe I'll put in the links. I've just come back from Penida too a couple of weeks ago, where we spent the morning with the mullah, and it was the first time I'd received their gifts. And then we had dolphins escorting us out, and then with the manta. and then dolphins afterwards. So what I'll do is maybe I'll put in the links to those 2 videos. So if anybody wants to tune in with the gifts that the mulla, the sunfish, and the manta have for us at this time, you'll be able to receive them through the recording.
Beautiful. Because they're just, manta for me is Thanksgiving, when we can remain within the attitude of gratitude, then we experience physical immortality. So manta is manta, Thanksgiving, remaining in that frequency of our inner eternality.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I don't know, is there anything else that anyone feels to bring to the field before we bring closure to our journey today?
I feel to ask someone in the group about a connection with the Blue Mountains. Has anybody here got a connection to the Blue Mountains?
Somebody who's going to be watching this recording does have.
Yeah, there's something coming up.
Yeah, there's somebody here in the field who'll be watching in about 3 days from now. It feels his connection to the Blue Mountains in Australia, for those who aren't sure.
Yes, near Sydney.
Yeah. Wow. So
where are you from? I didn't quite catch your names. The couple that were asking about the Merkaba. Where are you from?
Waveney John, Aotearoa, New Zealand.
Yeah, which part?
What's that? We're up in the north of New Zealand. Yeah.
Mangawhai.
A place called Mangawhai, and we live up in the hills at the right at the back there. There's a lot of very ancient forest around us, and beautiful rivers sort of come through at the moment.
I can feel you're holding something very, very important for that region. And I didn't catch your name from, is it Los Angeles?
Tessa.
Where in Los Angeles?
Oh, Tessa's lost. She's gone. She's left us now.
Okay.
And Bodhi's here from South Korea.
In South Korea. Yeah. It's just interesting because those places are all connected to discs. And yeah, the Korea one would be the Yonaguni temple complex. That's a connector point in with that system. So yeah, it's I'm just being asked for people to be conscious of where you are and what your frequency matching with the discs.
Yeah, it's one thing that we acknowledge is those that are called into the virtual live gathering are often holding strategic points on the planet for what needs to come through on that recording for everyone to share through. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. Wow.
I just have a question. Is there a sun disk in New Zealand somewhere? Maybe Leanne, you might know that. I don't know.
I have not worked with any sun disk in Aotearoa. I've worked with all the other ones I'm aware of around the planet, but I haven't worked with them. But when I say that, there's something new to be born out of Aotearoa. When we tapped into the golden boomerangs in Uluru and Australia that are very, very ancient. Remember the ancient word for Aotearoa, where some say land of the long white cloud, it's long threshold to the universe. And the sole destiny of that land is to lead the world into sovereignty along with Canada and Ireland. And out of what is going to birth of Aotearoa is something new. And maybe Raylene can elaborate on that.
Yeah, I'm instantly teleported to the Star Library in Waitangi Bay, and the great white bird that's holding the coding for that, and it's like a white gold alchemy.
Yeah. And that's where I was born into this body on this planet, was on the pathway that came in at Hokianga and goes across and out through the Bay of Islands. And that's where I was born and raised. And that's where I'm being called back to, and to Kaitiaki, to be a guardian of land somewhere in that area for what is to be birthed. Yeah.
That was a very powerful experience on the Star Library Island, and coming back on the Waka. That's one of Leanne always pushes me, and we had a boat full of tourists, and it went on forever, and my body was like a jackhammer, and it's probably one of the most powerful light language. Yeah.
It's one of those moments in time, Raddy and I got to meet up in the physical, and everything conspired to assist on every level and dimension when we got a waka ride out to Motomari, the little island just off Paihia, which is the star temple, the teaching space of many eons ago. And yeah.
And the whales and Fraser Island, and we went on a very long adventure to the Nullarbor.
Exactly, yeah.
That was 3 days driving. But I would say a lot of that, those places are Lemurian and Atlantean coding that we have brought through to actually birth something new for now. Upgrade the frequency bands of that gifting. That's all part of the motherboard stuff as well.
Wow, so much, and we could go on, and hopefully we will. Maybe you'd like to join us, whether while you're on your travels, Raylene, or when you get back. Let us know.
Yeah, keep us tuned. It'll be great to weave again in the physical.
It is. It's quite beautiful. We're kind of right now. It's just Guardians of Gaia birthed very organically on. I can't remember if we birthed on new moon or full moon gatherings last in 2023. 2024, it's been new and full moon gatherings. And just recently, the new moons have all about being what's moving in the last month. And then the full moons have often been with a specific earth keeper and their gifts and their wisdom and their codes that they're bringing into the circle.
Beautiful.
So we're just kind of trusting in the flow so far and letting it grow organically as she wants to.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Casey. Thank you, Waveney, John, Bodhi, and
thank you,
Tessa for
everyone.
joining us. And thank you for joining, everyone. May we all return fully intact onto the earth plane. And I would love to hand you over to Casey for coming to closure today.
We'll just close our beautiful circle of light that we've created together. And we'll thank the solar disk that wished to come forward in the circle, allowing us to receive the data and information that they wish to share in the unified field for our expansion and our growth. We're thanking all the codes that were shared in the circle, those of light, those of love, those spoken and those received on the cellular system, and giving gratitude and thanks for all of our star families for being here, for supporters, for the whales, for all of the animal allies that wish to come forward, for all the waterways holding the origin codes for our planet and for our cellular bodies, activating our systems more fully when we step into alignment with our soul essence, our galactic essence, our universal souls, and our divinity in the source fields. We'll now step back into our own pillars of light, allowing us to land more fully in the human systems, allowing us to step fully on our earth walks, until we join in circle again. We thank you and we welcome you back.
Thank you, Casey. And as we are on the eve of this super new moon eclipse, the end of the eclipse sandwich and the opening of Navratri and another very important Jewish festival, may we remember that ceremony need not be serious. Sincerity of intent is important. Honoring our interconnectedness is important. And may we remember to play with the innocence of children on the planet and the consciousness and wisdom and discernment of the mature adults we have become. Much love, everyone, and we look forward to meeting you in a couple of weeks on full moon, when I have a feeling Ginny may be coming in with her purification templates. I've yet to confirm with her. Thank you. Blessings on this journey. May your surfboard be waxed and you may land safely on the beach on the other side.